All right. Welcome to this episode of the Pops and Drops podcast.
What up, people?
It is post-election.
Thank God.
So now that we have that resolved, in theory, as long as the lawsuits don't go anywhere, then we'll have to figure out what's next.
Okay.
So, let's see. 70 million people voted for Donald Trump. 74-ish million people
75.
voted for Joe Biden.
75.
Well, after they get rid of the illegal votes, it'll go back down to 74.
No, there's no illegal vote. You crazy
We'll see.
Conspiracy theorist.
Anyway,
A majority of America is not racist. That's what we learned.
okay, so you're still calling the 70 million people who half the country you are calling racist.
Yes.
Okay.
They voted for Trump.
So
It's not that they are racist. It's that they condone racist behavior. Therefore, they are racist. They're saying that it's okay, and it's not.
okay. So this label of racist behavior we covered in episode 1, so folks can go back and hear Chancellor's extremely broad definition of racist behavior.
How Donald Trump built his empire on evicting African Americans, and how he told the Proud Boys to stand by and stand ready.
Okay, well,
That's a racist
the
organization.
black
a
Cuban
misogynist.
American who runs the Proud Boys probably would take issue with you calling him a white supremacist, since he's neither white nor a supremacist. But anyway.
Okay, so just misogyny. So they're just okay with misogyny.
And again, we talked about the YMCA too, also a men's organization that doesn't allow women. So,
But you can go and become a girl can go and get in the YMCA, right?
YWCA.
No, the YMCA in Richmond, Virginia, the one that I went to.
Okay, so that's a club, but the actual organization itself, the YMCA, the Young Men's Christian
But
Association.
they also have a women's one.
Yeah,
they have a women's
YWCA.
branch, so they include people. So
Of
they're not
course.
racist like the Proud Boys. Continue.
You said they were misogynist, not racist.
Or misogynist. They're the same.
Okay. Okay. So woke culture continues, and most people think that the support for Donald Trump was a reaction to the woke culture, cancel culture, critical race theory suite of philosophies that has infected our institutions of learning, and particularly higher education, and mainstream media. So the question becomes, I suppose, if the half of the country that voted for Joe Biden,
The majority of the country. It's a majority. Can you at least admit that?
sure,
Okay, the majority of the country.
the very slight
The
majority,
majority of the country. The majority of the country. Technically, the majority of the country.
technically the majority
Thank
of
you.
the country,
Yes.
actually no,
Yes.
actually that's not true.
Yes.
The majority of the people who voted.
The majority of the country.
No, because there's 360 or 320 million people in the United
And
States.
more people voted for Joe Biden than
Right.
in any history of the
Right.
United
But
he got more votes out of
Right.
any candidate
But
ever.
you can't say it's the majority of the country.
It is the majority of the country.
No, the majority of the country would be 51% of 320 million people. What would that be? What's 360 or 320 divided by 2?
160 million.
Correct. And how many people voted for Joe Biden? 75.
Yeah.
Not the majority.
The majority spoke.
The majority of the voters
Yes.
voted for Joe Biden, but the majority of the country did not. So
Okay.
just to clear that up. But there are 70 million people who voted for Donald Trump and 75 for Joe Biden, a much closer election than anybody anticipated. And clearly, I don't know
if right you would. Side won.
I don't know if you would argue. Well, the left side won, but I don't know if you would argue this or not. Do you think that the legacy media, network news, CNN, MSNBC, was objective?
It doesn't matter. It was good versus evil.
Okay.
They were on the side of good.
Okay, so not objective. Clearly took a side in the election.
Just like Fox News took a side.
Correct. What about
and just like Twitter, your conspiracy theory people that you listen to take sides.
They don't purport to be news organizations. What about Twitter and YouTube and Facebook?
Well, I know YouTube didn't because I constantly was getting ads on my YouTube for Trump.
Right, but that's not that means they took money. That doesn't mean they didn't censor content producers or use their algorithms to promote one side of the argument.
The only thing that Twitter is doing, it is blocking people from reporting fake shit.
Well, what they think is fake.
But the world.
No, not
the world.
Remember,
the people who are going to be on the right side of history.
The left side. But anyway, you keep saying that. So
the people who will go down in history as being as having morals, as having empathy, as caring for one another.
Okay. So you care for the 70 million people that voted for Donald Trump?
I feel that they are grossly misinformed like you are, and they have a lot that they need to learn.
Okay. Interesting.
About being a human being.
Oh, not just about like economics and the way systems work and critical thinking and things like that.
Again, you're promoting a dollar over a person's life. So you want to talk that's evil. That's greed. That is what actually greed is.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Well, if you think the people who voted for Trump need to learn something, then I might suggest that the people who voted for Joe Biden might consider reading Adam Smith's A Wealth of Nations so they understand how countries survive and thrive.
What country did Adam Smith found?
He didn't found a country.
Oh.
Adam Smith.
And A Wealth of Nations. You think England was successful? They built an empire which crumbled. So you want to continue?
They built an empire.
That crumbled.
Right. No empires last forever.
Well, then no one knows what they're doing.
Okay. So you think there should be an empire that lasts forever?
I think the Federation in Star Trek is the greatest example. And that's the thing that we should strive for. Unity.
Okay. So how much of...
And you can't be united when there are racist and misogynists out there who want to push down a sector of your society, of your world, of your species.
And you also can't be united when there is an elite who can take advantage of the sheeples and...
The sheeples?
Yeah. And say things that will make them feel like they're doing the right thing when they're doing things like making lists of the people who supported Donald Trump for retribution.
What are you talking about? What conspiracy theory rabbit hole are we going to go down now?
Really?
About how there's there's going to be a liberal hit squad? Is that what you're saying?
You don't follow AOC on Twitter?
Yeah.
Well, she tweeted out that there needs to be a list
of racists and misogynists. It probably should, because those are the people that need to get educated.
Okay. Just like the Joe Biden campaign worker who got caught on video saying that there need to be camps to send the conservatives to for re-education.
Maybe they do need to be educated. I don't necessarily think that they should be put in camps, but
okay. So apparently the Joe Biden victory has not really altered the mind frame of the people. So
the mind frame of the people
who support him and AOC and Bernie Sanders.
The people who want our world to be better. The people who want to end climate change. The people who want to end climate change. Oh my God. You are oh my God.
Let's talk about climate change.
Fuck your feelings, man. You guys for the last 4 years have been saying that you are in the right when you need to understand that you are in the wrong. that your racist, misogynist rhetoric, your Confederate flags are going to be taken down. There was not going to be any room for racism and misogyny in our future because Donald Trump will not be at the head of the table anymore.
Those particular activities that you're describing are going to be
do you
done
know that they removed they're removing the Confederate flag from Mississippi or Alabama? That also got voted on, and that got shot down.
But
they're going to redesign at the Alabama flag, which had the Confederate flag on it. That's another example of a victory. Another victory
by vote,
just like by
vote.
Yes,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
So the tide is slowly turning. Now those Republicans that probably voted to change the flag in Alabama, that's one step. That's them learning that, okay, maybe this isn't okay. That's just one thing that they need to learn. It's just one step forward. There's a lot of work to do. There is a lot of work to do.
Okay. The question is not whether or not there's work to do. The question is who dictates it. And if the state of
the world.
Okay, so there's
just like how the world celebrated when Donald Trump got fired. Donald Trump got fired and the world celebrated. There was fireworks going off in London. The church bells in Paris were ringing, man. I mean, you need to understand that this was a referendum.
Well, if those celebrations will be well founded if Joe Biden starts paying their NATO bill again.
Oh my God.
The question is, the problem is you argue from points where you have no factual references to base your arguments on. I mean, the United States was basically footing the bill for the defense of Europe for 50 years.
Okay.
So
protecting Europe?
Yes.
Protecting our allies?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the matter with that?
It's not our job.
It should be.
Why?
We should try to lift up everybody that we can. We should try to help others. That's the fundamental difference between your viewpoint and my viewpoint. You want to have an isolationist, capitalistic society in which the poor do not survive.
Easy for you to say. Easy for you to say. Because you aren't the one
like yourself
paying huge amounts of taxes to pay for all of that. Easy for you to say. You are in a position to say things like that because you don't pay a lot of taxes.
Okay.
And you are more than happy to go out and spew and spout about all of this stuff that you think would be a great idea, but you aren't paying for it. So as long as Jeff Bezos is paying for it, or as long as some billionaire is paying for it, you're fine.
Yeah, because they should be, because they have billions of dollars. If I was a multi-billionaire, multi-millionaire, I would be happy to pay for the
defense of Europe,
to pay for rebuilding our society and our world.
Okay.
To paying for infrastructure, not for paying for the military industrial complex.
Okay. Well, that's what Joe Biden is going to do.
No, it's not.
We'll see. So let me ask you this. Are you going to continue to pay attention?
We are going to rejoin the world.
Are you going to pay attention? Now that Joe Biden is elected and you don't have the specter of Donald Trump to motivate you to pay attention to anything, will you continue to pay attention to what our federal government is doing?
I don't want to have to.
Exactly.
The problem with Trump is that he forced us all to have he made everything about him. For the last 4 years, it was all about him. It wasn't about doing the actual work. It wasn't about actually progressing. It wasn't about getting things done. It was about him.
That's the story that you were fed.
That was the story that he told us. That was him being on Twitter at 2 a.m. when he should have been doing his fucking job and not watching 9 hours of TV every fucking day and refusing to get briefings on the state of the world. Donald Trump will go down in history as the worst president in the history of the United States.
That may or may not be
true. It, and the American people know it, and you need to accept it.
Well, he may go down in history as
the worst president in the history of the United States.
The first president to tell the truth about the mainstream media and the elites.
You are so wrapped up in this. It is so deep in you.
Okay, do you think that...
You are in a cult.
Well...
You're drinking the orangeade.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that it is vital to democracy to have an objective, free press?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think we have an objective, free press?
Yes.
Okay. What is your objective press source that gives you unbiased, objective information?
Everything. It's multiple sources, and that's what makes them all objective. MSNBC and CNN and Fox News and Twitter and Facebook. Everybody knows that they lean. It's obvious, dude, and you need to understand
that's
that.
the opposite of objective.
No, it is objective when you counterbalance them. It's about having all of the source material and understanding all of it and being able to look at the source material from an objective position.
So, do you think that the
difference is that the MSNBC and CNN they report news. That's what they do.
who?
Everybody knows that they lean left, but when you're leaning left, you're leaning towards the light. You're leaning towards the good side of society. You're leaning towards an accepting world. When you lean towards the right, where's my phone? I want to see if I still have this on my phone.
So, do you think that Mao Zedong was leftist?
I'm going to give you the actual definition of liberal, okay? Do you know the definition of liberal?
I do.
What is the definition of liberal?
Liberal is laissez-faire.
No, liberal is willing to respect or accept behavior or opinions different from one's own, open to new ideas, relating to or denoting a political and social philosophy that promotes individual rights, civil liberties, democracies, and free enterprise.
That is exactly correct.
It's about doing everything that you possibly can to make sure that everyone is on an equal footing so that they can succeed.
That's not what that means.
Yes, it is.
Read it again.
Yes, it is. That is exactly what it means.
Read it again.
It means promoting individual rights, civil liberties, democracies, and free enterprise.
Okay, individual rights.
Yes, making sure that everyone is on an equal playing field. That's individual rights. That's making sure that everyone starts at the same footing, that everyone has their basic human rights taken care of, like
not taken
care.
care of.
Yes. That is exactly what that means.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Individual rights.
Yes.
The right to have or not have health care if one chooses.
No, that's the right to have health care. You're saying that people want to choose to get sick and choose to die.
No, I'm saying
that's exactly what you're saying. And you can't even see it because you're
people want to have the right to choose to not pay health insurance.
Oh my God.
People who are Pentecostal or whatever that religion is that doesn't believe in allopathic medicine.
They don't have to go to the hospital, but they should be able to if they need it.
Sure.
And that bill should be covered.
So you should get something without paying for it.
Your health. We are paying for it. The rest of society is paying for it. Yes, the rest of society is footing the bill, as they should, because they should care about other people. They should be empathetic. And that's what you don't understand.
Sure.
You want to be a pure capitalist. The problem is pure capitalists want to crush everybody.
What do you think free enterprise means?
It means making sure that an African American can go into a bank and get a loan just like a white guy could.
Yes.
That's free enterprise.
Correct.
Without being judged and without being denied because of the color of his skin.
Correct.
That's free enterprise.
Yes.
It's making sure that everyone has equal footing.
Not equal footing.
Yes. You just literally agreed with me and then disagreed with me. Because you don't understand how ridiculous your side is.
Do you think,
and how bonkers your mindset is.
Do you think if you went into a bank to get a loan that you should be just as likely to get a loan as Steve Jobs if he was still alive?
No, because Steve Jobs built an empire.
Okay. Equal footing? What do you mean by equal footing then?
I mean that if me and Steve Jobs both had built empires and had the exact same file when we walked in, then we should both be able to get the problem is that Steve Jobs from day one was also given a hand up from day one.
How so?
Because he was white and he basically skipped out on college. He went to Reed, but he only got into Reed. Wasn't his stepdad like a professor there?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure he was. That's probably why. because he was given opportunities that most people aren't given. The people in the inner cities are not given access to proper education either.
Yeah, you know why?
Yeah,
Why?
because there's because there isn't enough money going into those schools.
That's actually not true. Inner city schools get more funding than suburban schools.
They do.
Yes.
Where's the proof of that? Why was Deep Run 10 times nicer than Henrico High then?
Because the parents of the kids also made contributions to the school.
Oh, okay.
They had a booster club for the football team.
I'm talking about the construction of the school and the school supplies and the teachers that were brought in and the teachers that wanted to move to those areas because the school was receiving more money.
That's not why they went there. It wasn't for higher salaries. It was because they assumed when they were going there that the students, which were coming from higher income neighborhoods, would be better students. Teachers like to teach students who are good learners.
God. Oh, so now you're calling white people good learners and black people bad learners and people from inner cities bad and people from the suburbs good. That's exactly what you said. You said they're better students. You said suburban students are better students.
Yes.
Why?
That's not an opinion. That's based on school test scores. You can't throw money at the problem. I did a research paper in college on this topic. There is no correlation between the amount spent per student and test scores. Educational outcomes are not correlated with per student spending.
It's probably correlated with outside factors, like the neighborhood that you grew up in and the stress that you have to deal with.
Yes, exactly.
So the spoiled suburban kids have a better education.
Well,
you just said they have better education.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not because of anything the government can do.
Yes, it is.
How so?
Because the government can ensure that can rebuild the inner cities, can send specialists into the inner cities, can analyze the education programs and what are working and what aren't working, and not base funding on test scores.
They don't.
Yeah, they do.
They don't.
Yeah, they do.
Base funding on test scores.
Yes, they do. Higher test scores. The schools that get higher test scores get bonuses, and the teachers get bonuses per test score.
Where did you hear that?
That's what's been that's a thing. That's always been a thing.
Not in public education.
The schools that do better, teachers get bonuses.
The problem is that's not the case, because if that were the case, there would be good incentives for the teachers to improve test scores. What you described would be illegal under the teachers' union contract.
Okay. So you're telling me that if you're a teacher and you have your class,
if you're a public school teacher,
in your class,
your salary is based on your tenure.
And if your class,
the longer you teach, the more you get paid.
And if your class does the best test scores in the state, you're telling me that teacher doesn't get a bonus?
Correct.
Okay, well, you need to look that up because I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
It would be illegal under a public school, public education teachers union contract. You have to, the longer you teach, the more you make. It's based purely on tenure.
Okay.
The longer you teach, the more you make. I mean, the only incentives that potentially could be in the public system, I suppose, is that if you had tenure, you could request to teach in a particular school, so they might transfer you.
So teachers don't get bonuses based on test scores.
Correct.
That's what you're saying.
In public schools.
And schools don't get incentives based on test scores.
If anything, they get perverse incentives.
What? Okay, what?
They throw more money at the more challenged schools. They have special programs. They try to improve test scores by spending more money. Even though, as I said, the research clearly shows there's no correlation between spending per student and educational outcomes.
So how do we equal the playing field?
The only thing that has worked anywhere is introducing the private sector into education through charter schools and school choice.
Isn't that already a thing?
Not in most places, and it's definitely nothing the Democrats support. The Democrats are wholeheartedly against school choice.
Why?
Because the Democratic Party is funded by the teachers union. The teachers union is one of the biggest contributors to the Democratic Party.
Okay.
Okay, so the teachers union and all of the other public employee unions that we talked about before, like the policemen's union,
Yeah, but
they contribute.
The teachers should have a union. They should.
Why?
Because their job is to educate our future, not to kill people.
What does having a union have to do with that?
It's about the union would make sure that they have job security so that they can't get fired.
Why shouldn't a bad teacher get fired?
A bad teacher should get fired. But a good teacher should not get laid off.
Well, if there were charter schools, the good teachers there would be competition for the good teachers and they would make even more money. If you had, right now you have one public school because the teachers union and the Democratic Party have made charter schools and school choice illegal in most places.
See, I don't.
And they're definitely against school vouchers. You know what school vouchers are?
Saying that you can go to another school.
Essentially, they say the per student funding that we're getting through state and federal and local funding per student is, say, $9,000. Here's a voucher for $9,000. You choose where you spend it. Any of these schools have agreed to take that $9,000 for your student, and you can choose which one your student can go to.
Who?
The parent.
Okay.
That's school choice. That's what the Democratic Party is against.
Why?
Because if you do that, then you will have good schools that perform well, that attract students, and then you'll have schools that perform poorly and everybody's trying to leave. And the teachers at those schools where everybody is trying to leave that haven't been doing a good job educating students might get fired or might have no school to teach at.
So I do not think that I understand why the Democratic Party does not want to have school vouchers, because it's introducing an economic system into an educational system. And we don't need that. That is, again, making sure that everyone isn't on a equal ground. That's probably why they're against it.
So what happens under your system is that the only people who go to the really good schools are the ones who can afford private school. So you are ensuring that generation after generation of African American students will be trapped in underperforming schools to protect the jobs of the teachers and the teachers union. That is the reality of the situation.
No, the reality of the situation is that we should pay teachers enough so that they're incentivized enough to perform well.
So
if the teachers aren't stressing about external factors because they don't have enough money and they don't have enough supplies for their students, then it's going to be harder for them to do their job.
The argument has always been that the reason you would want to pay teachers more is to attract better people into the teaching profession.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that mean about the people that are there now?
What do you mean? What does that mean?
If you say you want to pay teachers more to attract better people into teaching, what does that say about the people that are teaching now?
That they should have continuous education while they're teaching so that they become better teachers.
They do have continuous education.
Well, then that needs to be improved as well, if that's the issue.
Okay. So who chooses what the teachers learn? One of the things that has
See,
happened.
that's another problem because the textbooks themselves, the ones that are printed in Texas, skew conservative and lie. They don't tell the truth about Columbus.
Okay. Although
So that's
that may have
backwards
been
too.
that may
Columbus
have,
was a terrible human being.
that may have been true when you were going to school, but I'm pretty sure that most of the history texts these days have a woke interpretation of the discovery of the United States. And that's one of the things that a lot of people are shocked by now that kids are doing, learning at home.
Yeah.
And the parents are looking over their shoulder while they're getting their lessons.
They're saying that they're actually learning the truth.
There has been an enormous amount of shock about the content of modern primary school educational curricula. Shock. People are shocked.
Probably for the better if they're teaching the truth.
Well, you don't know what they're teaching because you haven't seen it.
Do you?
I've heard about it.
Okay, so what have they said that shocked them?
That they were teaching elementary school kids about the wonders of transgenderism.
Okay, that's good. That they should be aware that there are other people out there that
it's
are
not just
different than
making people
themselves.
aware of it. It was promoting it.
It was promoting it. It was promoting that you should be comfortable with who you are, which is bad. Why?
Because
So now
kids that
not only are you a misogynist and a racist, but now you're a bigot.
No. I think that kids, people that have not been through puberty yet, are not in a position to decide that they're a different gender than they were born. Particularly,
you don't decide if you're a different gender than you were born. It's something that you're born into a different body than you were meant to have.
okay.
So it's not something that people decide.
And
People
when
don't
are you-
decide to be gay, and people don't decide to
true.
be transgender.
Oh, that is probably, for the most part, for the true transgenders, that is true.
Oh, okay.
But if it becomes fashionable to be transgender, then people,
Fashionable. Oh, so now you're afraid that all these little boys and girls are going to think that it's cool to be transgender, and then that's going to turn them all transgender.
no, what I'm afraid of is
That's literally what you just said.
there have been several books published on this topic, which is that there has been an explosion in the number of prepubescent children who are taking steroids and hormonal treatments that that are irreversible and will affect them for the rest of their lives.
Okay.
And a lot of them, when they wake up to the fact that they aren't really what they thought they were, are killing themselves.
Okay, that is ridiculous.
Research it. There's a huge number of suicides from people who have undergone the transition at a very young age and then decided it was the wrong choice because you don't know what you don't know.
Oh my God.
It's a real issue. Joe Rogan has an episode with the author of the book on it. You should watch that episode. So my thing is that if CNN and MSNBC don't have Donald Trump to talk about 24/7
We can all breathe a sigh of relief.
and not have to watch them all the time anymore.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean that's has been their business model for the last 4 years, and now unless they create some new monster to focus everybody's attention on, their ratings are going to take a dump.
I think they're going to be okay with that, man, because they're not bad people.
Okay.
The world does not want. So here's your thing.
Yes.
You think that why would they be happy now then? If they lost their monster?
Because they think the ratings are going to continue because they're dumb.
Oh my God.
The people who work at CNN and MSNBC are not intelligent people.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
You need to watch all of the other series that they have going on, not just their 24-hour news. CNN does documentaries. Like today I was watching the documentary on the Obama versus McCain, the run up to that election. They do documentaries on the 90s and the 80s, and they do documentaries on the first ladies. There's a documentary on the first ladies that is coming up that I'm really looking forward to.
That's
watching.
interesting.
There's other things, man.
Reminiscing back in the days when they were actually a news channel.
Yeah, back before Trump. Back before Trump consumed everything.
Back before they turned into a propagandist. Yes.
Oh my God, dude, it's not propaganda if it's good versus evil. It's not propaganda. It's not propaganda if it's good versus evil.
Their job was to convince you about who was evil, and they did it.
Oh my God, no, they didn't. Trump did it himself every time he opened up his fat fucking mouth. That obese turtle piece of monkey crap.
Okay, empathy. And what did you say? Kindness?
He is the only human being who does not deserve empathy. Everything that he has done, everything that he has promoted, everything. He is an evil human being.
Okay, so why did his support among minorities increase?
His support among minorities did not increase. His support among minorities did not increase.
It did.
No, it did not.
He got 17% of the black vote this election. He got 8% last time. It almost doubled.
Okay. Oh, so you're accepting the actual results of the election then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know he lost.
Yeah.
So you know that the majority of America said
the majority of voters. The majority of America is 160 million people. 75 voted for him. That's far from the majority.
Okay. So the kids under 17 who couldn't vote.
No, that's not in the 320.
And people who, that's not included in the 320. You're telling me people under the age of 17 aren't considered in the population?
Well, they are, but that's not the population I'm talking about.
Yeah, you are. You said the majority of it. You're saying that the voters don't represent the majority of America.
Look up the number of voting age citizens in the United States.
How many do you think it is?
I think it's close to 300 million people.
No, it's not. It's probably close to 200.
Okay, well, even if it is 200, then 75 is still not a majority. 100.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. A majority of 200 million would be 100 million and one.
Okay. Well, he almost got 100 million and one. If you round up, he's way closer.
Chancellor.
This is ridiculous, man.
It's ridiculous for you to say that a majority of the United States voted for him when
the majority of the United States did.
Dude, 101 million people would be the majority of voting age American.
Yeah.
75 is nowhere close to 101 million.
It's a lot closer than 70.
It's a little bit closer than 70.
It's 5 million people more.
Okay.
Than 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what, half of New York City?
Oh my God.
A third of Los Angeles? Look at the map, dude. There is a lot of people in the United States that supported Donald Trump.
No, there's a lot of land in the United States. That's not people. Land isn't people. When you look at the map that shows the red and the blue, if you look at it by population and not by the map, a lot more people voted for Biden.
Let me put it this way. If you took the cities of New York and Los Angeles out of the equation, Trump won more of the remainder.
Those cities make up a majority of the United States.
New York and Los Angeles? What are you talking about?
You just said it yourself. How many million people are in those cities? There's a lot more people in those cities.
Los Angeles has what?
There's a
12?
There's a corner of Los Angeles that probably has more people than the entire state of all of the Dakotas.
Okay.
Like, that's more people. There are more people in big cities. Yes, there are more people in big cities.
And what I'm saying is if you just took those two cities,
those
New
two
York
cities should have the most say because there's more people in those two cities.
Who eat what? What do they eat? And where is it grown?
Yeah, by the farmers probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so the people in those cities should be able to dictate to the farmers that feed them what they should think and do. Is that what you're saying? Good luck with that.
Oh my God.
Hungry, hungry hippo.
Uh-huh.
Piss the farmers off. You aren't going to have any food.
Oh my God. Yeah. So you just pointing it out to the fact that the farmers are all racist, the farmers that raise the cows that are killing our environment.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
They're not racist. They just don't like being called racist.
Well, then they shouldn't prop up a racist. They shouldn't vote for a racist. They don't. If you don't want to be called a racist, hey, stop promoting a racist dude at the top of your ticket. How about that? How about that?
How about they?
How about not propping up?
How about they don't watch the propaganda? How about they know he's not a racist?
He says it out of his own fucking mouth. It's things that come out of his own fucking mouth and things that he tweets.
He got more non-white.
You are a ridiculous human being. It's like you live in fucking fairy
now
tale
you're calling
land.
all the people the minorities who voted for him ridiculous people. He got more non-white voters than any Republican presidential candidate in the last 60 years.
Oh my God.
What? Well, I mean, that's just the fact. Your narrative is broken.
No, it's not.
The narrative that Trump is a racist is broken. If he was a racist,
he built his empire on evicting African Americans out of Billings in New York City. Did he not?
I don't know.
Yes, he did.
I don't know.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. You need to do some research into him. You need to understand who this person is. This person who said, stand by and stand ready to the Proud Boys. The person who said there are good people on both sides when that shit happened in Charlotte. You need to understand that this human being is a terrible human being.
He also said that all white supremacists should be condemned.
Oh my God.
That was the first thing he said.
Yeah, he double talks all the time. He double talks all the time. He's probably like, the neo-Nazis are bad. Wait a minute. Wait, they like me? Okay, you know what? There are good people on both sides. That's probably what ran through his head at that moment.
What ran through
because he's a fucking racist and he's a misogynist and he's going to go to prison.
Well, I doubt that very seriously.
The ex-head of the RNC said, hey, New York Southern District attorneys, go after him. He's yours. He's going to get banned off of Twitter on January 21st. He will no longer have a Twitter. He's going to be silenced and he's going to go away.
I think 70 million people are going to get off of Twitter. I think 70 million people are going to stop watching CNN.
Good.
And MSNBC.
Good. Bye. We don't need you.
Okay, good. With that attitude, CNN and MSNBC are doomed.
Okay. Boo-hoo for another large corporation.
Okay.
You think I give a shit?
So what's next then? So Joe Biden takes office January 21st.
He joins.
What is doing? Quit repeating this simple, non-specific political bullshit.
Joining the World Health Organization, getting the coronavirus.
We're already a part of the World Health Organization.
No, we're not. Trump exited the WHO.
You can't exit the WHO.
Okay. Oh, so he just didn't do anything when he was in office. He just watched TV and he tweeted. You're just proving the fact that you're proving how terrible of a human and how terrible of a president
After the WHO.
So even the shit that he said he didn't do. Now you're saying the shit that he didn't even say he didn't. You're saying the shit that he said he didn't even fucking do?
You need to be more careful with your language and speak with specifics and be critical about what you're saying. What he said was, we're going to stop following the WHO guidelines after they reverse position 3 times.
Oh, my God.
You don't quit
He's
the
going
WHO.
to re-sign the Paris Climate Accord. We are going to get the world back to a place where we can reverse global warming.
Okay. So who convinced you that you can reverse global warming?
Who convinced me that we can reverse global warming?
Yeah.
I think that it's not a single source. It's a thing that all of us are going to have to constantly work for and battle probably our entire lives.
Okay.
It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but it's something that we should start doing now. Like we should start reducing. One of the biggest factors is the methane emissions from cows. And we need to, that's another thing that we need to move towards. We need to move towards things like Beyond Meat and Impossible Meats. And we need as a species, we need to start taking care of our climate. We should be planting trees on rooftops. We should be like we should be moving towards an electric future with all electric cars and wind turbines and solar panels. It's not just one thing that can happen overnight. It's about building the infrastructure now. It's about getting the Green New Deal signed so that we can create new jobs in these new industries, in industries like solar panels and in wind power and in electric vehicles. It's about taking the steps in the right direction instead of trying to hold on to the past.
Okay, have you read an economic analysis of the Green New
Deal? Again, I don't
Deal?
give a fuck about economics, and that's what you don't understand. It's not about the dollar. It's about the people. It's about this. It's about humanity. It's not about making sure that you can afford more shit when you don't need more shit. It's about making sure that people can survive, and our children and our children's children can thrive in a world that has clean air, and in a world where their health care is taken care of, and where they don't have to worry about the police killing them. It's about building a better and brighter future. And you refuse to see that better and brighter future. You just want to hold on to these institutions of the past. You want to hold on to the racism. You want to hold on to the police force. You want to hold on to these things, onto the military industrial complex. You want to hold on to those conservative values. And that's what the problem is. And you received a blow. You need to understand and accept the fact that the world says no. It's time. It's not time to stand still. It's time to move forward. We need to stop moving backward.
Again, specifics. What's the net job impact of the Green New Deal? You say it's important for people to be able to survive and thrive. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the net job impact of the Green New Deal?
I don't know. What is the net job impact of the Green New Deal? Do you know?
Yes.
What is it?
It's about 50%.
50% what?
The jobs that it creates only replace 50% of the jobs that it takes. So it's a net loss of 50%.
Of what jobs?
All jobs throughout the economy.
You're saying that the Green New Deal would wipe out 50% of the jobs in our economy?
I'm saying that you say it's going to create.
Or will it shut down coal mines so that people aren't dying? Like, what are you think? Where it will stop? It will reduce nuclear power or whatever other contributing factors are destroying our world. Again,
the economy runs on energy. Solar and wind powered energy are insufficient
right now because we do not have the money to research better versions of them. So continue.
Well, the federal government has been throwing millions and millions of dollars at companies that typically are Democratic Party donors, so maybe they're not the best companies, but they have been throwing millions of dollars at companies to develop new solar technology, and nothing's come of it so far.
Why?
Because
maybe because the president gets on TV and says you don't believe scientists.
This happened during the Obama administration.
Okay.
Solara, that the federal government gave tens of millions of dollars for research to, just gave them the money, took the money and then went bankrupt after making big contributions to the Democratic Party, of course, to get the money in the first place.
See, that doesn't even sound real. That just sounds like
conspiracy theory. Look it up. You need to be a lot better read. You don't know much.
Neither do you.
You spew a lot, and you really don't know much.
Theory, racist rhetoric.
I haven't said anything racist, Chancellor.
Okay. Promoting Trump is racist, so you're promoting his ideals and his values, so you are. So there you go.
You know what Proposition 16 is.
What's Proposition 16?
Proposition 16 was the ballot initiative that they tried to pass in California, your camp, your tribe, that basically it got rid of 209, the prior proposition that was passed in 1995, that made it illegal to discriminate in hiring based on someone's race, gender, age, or sexual orientation.
Okay.
Happily, it failed, but your side of the aisle was trying to get rid of that. They were trying to reintroduce discrimination.
My side of the aisle, but you just said it failed, and California's blue. So how is it my side of the aisle?
What do you mean?
You said luckily they failed.
Yeah,
So the proposition didn't pass.
correct.
So then it didn't fail. So then my side didn't pass it. California's blue. You're
It
saying
was
your
the-
side. That's not my side.
It was the
If
Democrats.
my side shot it down,
They didn't.
then that's not my side. Did they? I thought you said it failed.
Mm-hmm.
So then they didn't. So they shot it down. My side shot it down.
No, your side
Members
didn't.
of my side tried to prop it up, but the rest of my side shot it down. That's what you just said. So again, what's your point?
My point is that your critical race theory, woke philosophy, is trying to do things like get rid of anti-discrimination laws so that they can.
No, they didn't, because you just said that we shot it
I
down.
said they tried.
No, you said we shot it down. California, which is blue, the majority of people in California shot it down. The blue state,
Okay.
the Democrats
Look
shot
at
it
the-
down.
look at
So
the
again,
vote.
what are you saying?
Look at the vote breakdown. All the Republicans and a few Democrats voted against it. All the people who voted for it were Democrats.
But still, the majority shot it down.
So your side is the Republicans?
No,
The majority of the people who voted against it were Republicans. Are you for Proposition 16
I
or
don't know
against
anything
it?
about Proposition 16. This is just I don't know anything about what you're even saying. So I don't. That's what it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter because it got shot down.
The issue, do you know who Ibrahim X. Kendi is?
No,
Okay. What do you know about that you actually have information on that we could talk about?
I don't know.
Okay, so it's just a lot of opinion and no facts to back it up.
That's what you spew all the time. Your conspiracy theory opinions.
What is a conspiracy theory that I talk about?
The fact that you think that the election was rigged and that
I didn't say the election was rigged.
yeah,
I said there's evidence of voting irregularities.
oh my God.
There are.
Oh my God.
And they'll get to the bottom of it. And it's unlikely, but I mean, there's an outside possibility that some of the fraud will be substantial enough to reverse the decision, but I doubt it. But they will find thousands and thousands of votes that are illegal.
Oh my God. You're crazy.
Well, regardless of whether or not the perception is because of all the videos from Project Veritas that showed evidence of ballot harvesting, and you can watch the videos. They have it on video, people doing ballot harvesting.
What's ballot harvesting?
Okay. Ballot harvesting is where people go and pretend to be helping out like the elderly, and they say, have you had a chance to vote yet? I can take your ballot to the drop box for you if you fill it out. And then they collect all these ballots from all these different people, and they watch them fill it out. And if they fill out the ballot for the person they want to support, they drop it off. And if they fill out the ballot for the opponent, they throw it in the garbage.
That just sounds like bullshit.
It's on video.
It's on video. It's on video of them watching these people taking their votes and then throwing them away.
No, it's on video.
Okay, so then then it's bullshit. So it's bullshit. You just admitted that it's bullshit. You said that the video doesn't even show any of the shit that you just said. So it's bullshit. So again, that's a conspiracy theory.
They had the ballots in their car with them, and they admitted to being paid by one of the campaigns. They admitted to being paid by Ilhan Omar's campaign in Minnesota to do it.
To do what?
To ground up all these ballots and turn them in.
Okay, so they went to places where people who probably couldn't go drop off their ballots because they're elderly, they might be at home,
Right.
and they went and they gave those people the ability to vote.
Yes.
So what's the
The
problem?
problem is that they only turned in the ballots
How do you
for
know? Because that sounds like a conspiracy theory. And how
Because
would they
that's
know
what they
exactly what the
admitted.
people voted for?
by watching them fill the ballots out or asking them who they voted for.
Okay. And they threw away all the ballots? And there's proof of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's bins of ballots showing up all over the place. There was a postal worker in Buffalo arrested for throwing out ballots. it may or may not be enough.
It's bullshit. What he's saying is bullshit.
What do you mean?
You're just making up
I'm
shit.
not making
you're making
anything
up. That sounds exactly like something that Donald Trump would say.
Okay.
They're going and they're collecting the ballots and then they're throwing them away. They're throwing away my ballots. They're throwing away my ballot. That's why I didn't lose. I mean, that's why I won. It's because they're throwing away my ballots.
Well, you know what? It's easy enough to figure out if it's true or not. All you have to do is match the people who voted with the registration records.
And that's exactly what they do when they count the ballot. That's exactly what they do.
No, it isn't.
Yes, they do. When they count the ballots.
No, they don't. They don't make sure that the name on the ballot is somebody who's still alive.
Oh my God. Why would that person get a ballot if they weren't alive?
Because somebody requested it on their behalf.
You can't. So you're saying that right now I could request a ballot for Abraham Lincoln, even though he's been dead for 200 years?
You could request a ballot for Opa.
And you think I'd get one?
Probably.
No, because he has a death certificate.
All these people have death certificates.
Oh my God.
Look it up. It's
bullshit, Pete. It's just made up bullshit. You just need to accept the fact that you guys are wrong and you're in the wrong. And Donald Trump needs to come out and he needs to concede and he needs to say, look, I hope that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can build a brighter tomorrow and tackle this virus that I denied at first. And then I turned into a racist slur. He needs to come out and say that.
How did he turn it into a racist?
Kung flu. That's a racist slur. Is it not?
I think. Did you hear what Dave Chappelle said about it?
Yeah, and it would have been okay if he said it because he's not the president of the United fucking States. And we need to hold the president to the highest standard, not the lowest.
Oh, so you're saying Dave Chappelle is the lowest standard?
I'm saying comedians are the lowest standard. Yeah, that's their job, is to make fun and do that kind of crap. We don't need a comedian as president.
Presidents are not allowed to tell jokes.
No,
okay.
No, I'm not saying presidents aren't allowed to tell jokes. They aren't allowed to make racial slurs when they're supposed to be the president of the United States. Like I said, the last 4 years we have been holding him to the lower standards. We need to hold our leaders to the highest, not the lowest.
Will you?
We are.
Will you?
Will I what?
You just said you're going to stop paying attention now that Joe Biden's been elected.
I'm going to take a sigh of relief because I won't have to deal with it, but I'm still going to stay engaged.
Why don't
I'm
you
still
have
going
to
to try.
deal
I'm
with
still
it?
going to try to make sure that we get those 2 senators in Georgia. That's the next thing that really needs to happen. We need control of the Senate, so that they cannot reverse Roe v. Wade.
Okay, what happens if they reverse Roe v. Wade?
Then it allows states to say that women can't get an abortion.
Okay, and if a majority of the people in a state want to vote that way, what's wrong with that?
Because women should have the right to choose.
They do.
Because it's their bodies, not your body.
Yeah. If you want to have an abortion and you live in Louisiana, you can go across the border into Texas.
Oh my God.
You have a right to choose.
Oh my God.
What
if you can't afford to get to Texas?
Then you call up now or whatever big. We talked about this before too.
You were talking about taking away the women's right. You were talking about removing women's rights of their own bodies.
Mm-mm.
Yes, you are. That is what you are doing, and you have to be able to see that. You have to be able to see how ridiculously backwards that is.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're saying that the state should be able to remove women's rights. That's exactly what you're saying. And you're saying if you don't like that, then move to another state.
Yeah. Live in a community that shares your values.
Oh my God. Well, then you should fucking get in a time machine and move to fucking Nazi Germany with Trump. You want to move to a fucking community that shares your fucking values. Jesus Christ. It's absolutely bonkers.
Chancellor, what's bonkers is that you think that there should be some superior authority that dictates cultural and social norms to people. That's what America is.
Women's rights are not a cultural or social norm. Everyone should have equal rights.
Everyone does have equal rights. Everyone has equal rights and has for a very long time.
No, they don't.
Who?
Not if you take away the women's right to choose. That's removing their rights. That's saying that they cannot dictate what happens to their own bodies. That is removing a human right.
Well, it's nobody's right to kill another human.
A baby, a fetus, is not a human.
A baby is a human.
A fetus is not a human.
A viable fetus is a human.
Oh my God. No, it is not.
Okay, so the baby can survive outside the mother. They're not a human. When do they become a human? When they get a C-section and get removed from the woman's body, then they're miraculously all of a sudden a human? Your logic doesn't hold up.
No, your logic doesn't hold up, man. You are so apeshit backwards, and you don't even understand or see that your opinions are so in the wrong. They're so in the wrong, and time will tell, and you will see. I hope you
So my
understand, and I
opinions
hope
are in
America
the wrong.
understands
My opinions-
how in the wrong Make America Great Again, how bullshit that conservative fucking Trumpian mindset is, that conspiracy theory spewing bullshit, that racist, misogynist rhetoric. It's time for it to stop now.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men
All
are
men,
created
and that needs to be
equal.
changed too. Because it's not about all men. It's about all men. It's about all men, women, transgender, people of every race and every creed.
Okay. So you want to change the preamble to, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all people are created equal. I'm for that.
Everyone. Yes.
What's the difference between all people and everyone? Is there a difference?
I don't know. Maybe one day AI will evolve and will want rights.
And you'll be for that, granting AI rights?
If it's smarter than the MAGA people, then they probably deserve it.
Okay, we're over. Well, we'll continue. We'll come up with an interesting topic to discuss, and probably the final resolution of the election will be official by
It's official now. Joe Biden won, and Kamala Harris is going to be the first female African-American and Indian woman of Indian and African-American descent to be vice president, and that needs to be celebrated. Thank you, Kamala. Thank you, Joe Biden, for giving us hope again.
Stay on top of them. Make sure they do the right thing. Don't let
They're
them
not-
slide.
They're not Trump.
Don't let them
Literally,
slide.
their bar is so...
You already
Trump
said you're
lowered
gonna stop paying
Trump-
attention.
Trump lowered the bar so low that all they have to do is do their job, and everything will get back to normal.
Okay, well, maybe next time we can talk about what their job actually is.
Okay.
So you want to share a song?
Which one are we doing? I-4141?
Yep, tell me about it.
It's a song we made.
What was the inspiration?
Party song? Right?
Celebration. Huh?
Yeah. Well, we can truly celebrate.
Okay. We will see you next week.
Adios.
Chance. Closer. Give me that womp womp.